Hello there, Star Wars fans. Today I want to take you through part of the book Star Wars Lords of the Sith, as Darth Vader performs an extremely badass, crazy move to get onto a Ryloth freedom fighter ship. The action in this, the fear, the dialogue, it's all great. It's awesome to read, awesome to listen to. So, I hope you enjoy. Thanks a ton for taking the time to click and watch this video. Please do leave a like, it helps more than you know. So, that's much appreciated. Alright, let's get into it. To set up the scene, Vader and a squadron behind him are trailing this ship, trying to board, but they're unable to. Basically, they're shooting the engines down, and in doing so, shoot down the boarding ramp. Are unable to board, but they need to board, at least Vader does, so they're gonna find a way. Basically, the ship is being shot down, Vader's gotta get on, so here we go. Secondary explosions rocked the vessel, but it otherwise remained intact. Vader slowed still more, trailing the transport. "She's running on inertia now, sir," said the squadron commander. When the Perilous arrives, she can tractor the transport into one of her bays. "I have no intention of leaving the hijackers aboard the ship for that long," Vader said. He knew the hijackers would try to blow that ship, and there were enough weapons in the cargo bay to do just that. "I'm going to board her." "Sir, the docking clamp on that ship is too damaged, and there's no landing bay," said the squadron commander. "I am aware of that, Commander," Vader said. The sole remaining gun bubble, operated by one of the hijackers, swung around and opened fire on Vader's ship, still using the Force to guide him. Vader slung his ship side to side, up and down, staying just ahead of the blaster fire, as he headed straight for the bubble. He could see the gunner inside the transparent canopy, feel his presence, insignificant and small through the web of the Force. "Sir," the commander said as the V-Wing squadron circled back around, but Vader did not acknowledge him. Vader hit a switch and depressurized the interceptor's cockpit, his armor shielding him from the vacuum of space. Then, as he neared the transport's midline, still swinging his ship left and right to dodge the incoming fire, he selected a spot on the transport adjacent to the gun bubble and, using the Force, took a firm mental hold on it. His interceptor streaked toward the gun bubble, aimed directly at it. Content with the trajectory, he unstrapped himself, overrode the interceptor's safeties, threw open the cockpit hatch, and ejected himself into space. Immediately, Vader was spinning in the zero-G, the ship and stars alternating positions with rapid in his eyes. Yet, he kept his mental hold on the airlock handle, and his armor, sealed and pressurized, sustained him in the vacuum of space. The respirator was still loud in his ears. His ship slammed into the gun bubble, and the transport, the inability of the vacuum to transmit sound causing the collision to occur in eerie silence. Fire flared for a moment, but only for a moment, as the vacuum extinguished it. Chunks of debris exploded outward into space, and the transport lurched. A great boom sounded through the connection. Alarms wailed inside the ship, and Pock's bridge exploded in a cacophony of competing conversations. "Pock, what just happened?" Cham asked through a comlink. "Are you all right?" "We had a collision. We're all right," Pock replied. "Get me status on the damage." "Get someone over there, now!" Sir, the squadron commander called, his voice frantic in Vader's helmet comm. "Lord Vader, what's happening, sir?" Vader's voice was calm. "I'm docking with the transport, Commander." Using the Force, Vader stopped his rotation and reeled himself in towards the large, jagged, smoking hole his interceptor had torn in the transport's hull. Loose hoses and electrical lines dangled from the edges of the opening, leaking gases and shooting sparks into space. A portion of his ship's wing had survived the impact and was lodged in the bulkhead. The rest had been vaporized on impact. Vader pulled himself through the destruction unit until he stood in the remains of a depressurized corridor. Chunks of metal and electronics littered the torn deck, the whole of it smoking from the heat of impact. The V-Wings buzzed past the transport, visible through the hole in the bulkhead. "Sir," the squadron commander said. "All is under control, Commander," Vader said impatiently. Several members of the fighter squadron whispered odd oaths into their communications. "Maintain calm discipline. the squadron leader barked, though Vader could hear the disbelief in his tone as well. "My lord, there are dozens of hijackers aboard that transport." "Not for much longer, Commander," Vader replied. "You are on escort duty now. I will notify you if anything else is required." A pause, then, "Of course, sir." The transport's automatic safeties had sealed off the corridor with a blast door, but he knew the codes to override them. He strode through the ruin and entered the code. The huge door slid open, and pressurized air from the hull poured out with a hiss. He stepped through and resealed the door behind him. A few more taps on a wall comp, and he'd repressurized the hull. The shrill sound of the transport's hull breach alarm wailed from wall speakers. A hatch on the far side of the hull slid open to reveal a purple-skinned Twi'Lek man in makeshift armor. Seeing Vader, the Twi'lek's head tails twitched, his eyes widened in surprise, and he grabbed for the blaster at his belt. By the time the Twi'lek had the blaster drawn and the trigger pulled, Vader had his lightsaber in hand and ignited. He easily deflected the blaster shot into the wall, then raised his offhand, and with it reached out with the Force. He made a pincer motion with his two fingers, using the Force to squeeze closed the Twi'lek's trachea. The Twi'lek pawed frantically at his throat as Vader's power lifted him off the deck, but to his credit, he held on to his weapon, and gagging, dying, he managed to aim and fire his blaster at Vader again and again. Vader simply held his grip on the alien's throat, while casually deflecting the blasts into the bulkhead with his lightsaber. Then, not wanting to waste time, he moved his raised left hand, and then the right, using the Force to smash the Twi'lek into the bulkhead. The impacts shattered bone, and Vader let the body fall to the deck. A voice then carried over a comlink on the Twi'lek's belt. "Tymo! Tymo! What is going on there? Do you copy? Can you hear me?" Vader deactivated his lightsaber, picked up the comlink, opened the channel, and let the sound of his respirator carry over the connection. "Who is that?" the person asked. Vader answered only again with his breathing. "Tymo, is that you? Are you all right?" "I'm coming for you now," Vader said. He crushed the communicator in his fist, reignited his lightsaber, stepped over the dead Twi'lek, and strode into the corridor below. Vader proceeded to easily overwhelm the remaining 24 Twi'leks aboard the ship. Vader heard them conversing as he moved, saying they had the numbers to take him down. As he entered, the Twi'leks opened fire, yelling, "For Ryloth!" and died swiftly. Deflecting blaster bolts and using his saber to cut them down, Vader approached the leader aboard the ship, grabbing him with the Force. "Tell me what I wish to know, and your death will be easier." The Twi'lek cursed in its native language, and Vader replied, "Very well," before slowly crushing his trachea, killing him. That's the story today, as Vader looked to extinguish Ryloth freedom fighters. This wasn't their main group, but it was an important one that Vader killed in a rather scary, epic way. With no spot to board on the ship, but needing to board, Vader aimed his own ship that he was flying at a vulnerable area on the cruiser, ejected himself, then pulled himself to the hole in the ship with the Force. His suit allows him to survive in space. He landed, and then just basically took out the entire ship of freedom fighter Twi'leks. Let me know. It was fun to read. I'm going to read that whole book. It's good so far. Let me know if you've read it. It's called Lords of the Sith. Palpatine and Vader are now going on a mission to Ryloth, so I'm just getting started reading basically, but I read that action sequence and I was like, damn, I need to make a video on that. So, make a video, I did. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you understood what was going on. These ones are fun to make. So yeah, let me know. Thanks for watching. Please do leave a like. It helps. It helps much more than you know. Thank you. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.